Hi, I wanted to share some lessons that I learned when I went on my LDS mission. I went to Dominican Republic, Santiago, and I loved it. And the great thing is, I am an ex-Mormon. Oh, heaven forbid, right? Here's the thing. I believe that you do not have to be bitter, upset, or anything if you decide not to be a part of a religion any longer. You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Appreciate the good, embrace it, love it, all of that. Your peace will be immeasurable. I have to say this, and this is one reason I want to share this, is I've seen people be bitter and not happy with the fact that they were ever once a religious person and then they left the religion, or in their moment, or even in like a group setting, say they went and joined a club for a while and they couldn't stand it. It's not that it ripped them off for money or anything like that. It's just that they felt that it wasn't the absolute. To me, it doesn't matter. I love that I was Mormon. I love that I had the time there. I love that I learned what I learned, and I also love being who I am now. So, nonetheless, I have to share these things because there are some beautiful things that I learned while I was on my LDS mission. So I kind of broke it down into little groups. The first one was to plan. When you go on your mission, you have to schedule, you budget your time and your money, because both are limited. You prioritize in that time what you're going to do, for who, at what time, and you try and fit all of these things in. Because not only are you out to proselytize, I wasn't totally into that part, but we were doing service also as a mixed mission. Anyhow, you have those, and you have to decide, okay, I can spend this time with this person, but I also need to go and give service at the hospital or wherever you're going. You must prioritize what comes first, what is important. Break your goals down. You always have goals while you're on your mission, right? The best thing was you got to break them down. So I was there for 1.5 years, right? But while you're there, you have mission goals, personal goals, right? And you have this time frame. Well, to accomplish this goal, you got to break it down. So it was like year to month, month to week, week to day, day to hour, hour to 15 minutes, right? It was amazing. I loved that. These are things I just learned. So, and I may have had them beforehand, but they were just kind of extra pushed into your system where you're like, hey, I know this. This is something I'm getting here. So I'm taking it and I'm giving this the credit to this time in my life, because I think it was a phenomenal time, quite frankly. Anyhow, so it was good for planning and scheduling. Also, it was a time for mindfulness. And with that, you have this, in this allotted time, you have time to read spiritual books, read things that are, pertaining to what you're there for. You're supposed to be spreading the good word, right? Read everything. I think I read every single book in English and Spanish. So I could say I read the Bible cover to cover, 2 languages, and it was actually very interesting. You learn a little bit more kind of mixing the two. It's wonderful. Also, you take that time and you pray. And to me, praying and meditation, they pretty much go into the same thing. Obviously different ways of doing so, but they're an inner thought process. They're asking for things. They're giving gratitude. They're looking at your shortcomings. They're looking at how you can grow and develop. It was wonderful. You had time to pray, and you prayed with many people, and you truly had to think of them during those prayers. It was wonderful. I think the sincerity was there. I think when you're with people in their place and you're out of your box, you can kind of just set yourself aside and look around and say, I do want good for this. It's just wonderful. Anyhow, so on that learning, you're going to read the books, you're going to take the time to meditate, look within, find your spirituality. Also write in your journal or diary. So important. Not even just the spiritual things. We all have our inner thoughts or whatever, right? But looking back on that, oh my goodness, have I grown up. I mean, this is like 2 decades ago, mind you. But the differences, right? And also the similarities between when I was that age and now. You know, sometimes we change, but I can't say every aspect changes. It just doesn't. And it's fun to look back on and to get some perspective and see some growth, you know, from my current situation. What I was like then and who I am now. Fantastic. While you're being mindful for yourself, finding that peace and the knowledge and whatnot, you're also going to, you know, on top of that knowledge, learn more. And I mean, of course, gospel, that's your mission, right? But you're going to learn about a culture and a language and a people that are very different than who you were. I'm not just talking about the country. I'm not talking about, from my experience, Dominican Republic. No, I'm talking about my companions, other missionaries, things like that. There's a whole realm of people, and they're not all from Dominican Republic or America. They're all from different places, and you kind of mesh in there, and you kind of, you know, get good, bad, whatever from everyone, and it is wonderful just to have this mix, right? I loved it. The thing is, I have to say, it's almost inevitable. I don't even know how to explain it, but you will probably fall in love with the people and the country that you go to on a mission. So for me, I did. It's weird. I don't even know. It's inexplicable. Like, I love Dominicans. And I'm saying a major blanket statement here, but wow. It was a wonderful place. It was very, it was just a good time for learning. Anyhow, so that's part of the learning, culture, language. Within that learning and the culture and language, I think they're very intertwined. You'll learn more about people, humanity, and it just expands. With that, you're gonna have personal growth, right? So here you can step out of your box, step out of your comfort zone, step out of, you know, I was a girl from California who went to the Dominican Republic, and I was like, whoa, you know, new life. I stepped out of that, and it was different and wonderful and scary beyond belief, and all my insecurities went just flying in full view for me, all of this, and it was amazing. And I can't say the wonder and beauty of utter fear and the growth that can develop from that. And it doesn't all have to come on your mission or even a little bit after. It can be many years later where you're like, wow, that was quite the lesson. So it was outstanding. So that was a lot of personal growth. I mean, I literally and figuratively fell on my face many times and got back up. And that is the important part. So that was another thing, is confidence. Things that I learned there. You know, speaking in front of other people. Are you kidding me? That was not me. And suddenly I go there, I'm thrown into speaking a different language in front of a bunch of people, and I'm relatively new to even learning anything about Christianity, gospel, whatnot. And I go there and I have to talk. It was scary and amazing, and I loved it. So that was another great thing. I also learned, on top of speaking, listening. And the beauty of learning a different language, you have to listen. Right, to how people speak. There's, you know, writing and reading and the education part of a language, but there's the true languages of the people, right? And so it's not just the language, it's listening to people, and then suddenly you're listening to their soul, right? Who is this person? And you can say what you want, but if you're not listening to someone, like I could say, you know, we're not getting along, you're not listening to me. But I need to listen, right? So that's one beauty that I found, is going there and just listening. And because I had to, number one is the language, right? But forced listening, it's wonderful. Listening, it's helped me later on in life. I had to learn different language again. I had to learn some Mandarin, and I also did some counseling, things like that, where I needed to be a listener, and that was a wonderful thing to do. Also, I learned just in that time to be in the moment. When you're listening to people, you have to kind of focus and be there. And it was wonderful because you're grounded and you are in the moment and you're there. And believe me, there are times where I wanted to go home and oh my God, this is enough, blah, right? But then I had to learn to calm down and be in the moment. And the wonderful thing is strangely sometimes having regret over not being in the moment enough there. And so again, the lessons come later. And what I learned is, even now it's a struggle for me because I do like to run around and do a lot. But truly being in the moment, asking, what is this food? Listening, what is it? How do you prepare? What's the history here? Things like that, when you can just focus on those and not think, I gotta go home, I gotta clean my room, I gotta pack this, I gotta write a letter, I got this. And they're telling you about this delicious food and all the recipes and all the wonderful history of their grandma making it. And you're thinking about filing, it doesn't make sense. So, some of the regrets I have is not listening about the food. And that is a wonderful thing because it has helped me stay grounded. And I think of the times that I actually stopped when I did start to realize, hey, I'm not here. That has been wonderful for me to just stop and be like, okay, I'm here. You know, wonderful times. I guess to kind of finish this up, another thing I did learn is in my 1.5 year time when I came back to America, everything changed and nothing changed. It was, nothing changed for a lot of people. They lived, they woke up, they ate breakfast, went to work, came home, blah, 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 right? And yet everything changed because inside had changed like a ball of fire inside of me. And I still didn't come back 100% either way. I was still kind of in a fluid zone, but I changed. And so everything did change and people grew and people did other things, but everything was the same too. Very interesting. And I find that I've traveled quite a bit since then. People do pretty much that nothing and everything changes. It's wonderful. So I guess in the end, oh, and one more thing I just have to say. Going on a mission, you learn commonalities. And again, like I was saying, learning culture and all of that about different people. You will learn about fellow missionaries and being with someone 24 hours, especially I love to be alone. So for me, that was really, truly rough. And I am so lucky because I was truly stuck with someone 24 hours. And luckily I had some really great companions. So I am lucky there. But you will learn how to agree, disagree, and work things out and finding peace at home. Those are wonderful things. Anyhow, I wanted to share these things because I think about it when people are disgruntled or upset about, being a part of religion, leaving it, blah, blah, blah. Let it be. Just, appreciate the good. There's so many good things that can happen in life. And if you're wasting your time being upset, it doesn't help. So anyhow, these are things that I learned from my Mormon mission and I loved it. I have had many wonderful things come about after because of my mission. And it's just one of the best things ever. So I wanted to share these messages or lessons with you or whatever. And I hope that they are things that you can use in your own life or sit down and think about something that you can really have, learned or a time in your life where you did learn a lot of lessons when you sit down and actually think it through. Anyhow, wishing you the best. Thanks.